If you've watched any of the previous episodes, or if you haven't, go and watch them right away. But if you watched any of them, this is probably the one that you've been most looking forward to, because this is the episode where we'll be talking about the big boys, the teams that potentially have got what it takes to win the major. So it all just starts with this one question, guys. Who the hell is going to win it? So first off, give me your teams, give me the reasons behind it. I'm going to start off with Golden on this one.
For me, it's probably I'll have to go with ENCE, NIP, and I want to say Navi, but I think there are other factors that matters right now that makes them hard to perform, and it's sad. But then I'll have to say G2. And why I say G2 is because I feel like they just need that activation. Like they need to be in the zone, and one specific player is m0NESY. I feel like if he gets that consistency with the op more and more, he's young, and there's 100%. I understand why it's not there yet, and I think everyone else understands as well. He's young, but when he gets there to that point where he can be consistent through a lot of important matches and like smaller matches, finding that consistency will take them to the next level. He is their key. If you look at the top 10 teams with their all the oppers, they're all super consistent. They're getting their numbers in, and I feel like sometimes m0NESY does that, and sometimes he doesn't, and that sometimes he doesn't, that needs to go away in the major for them to be able to win it.
I can literally hear Carlos right now typing in your DMs. Just show me your PayPal. Give me your PayPal.
But for real, that team is so good, and whatever. If it's not this major, it will be another major when they have found their consistency as a team, and m0NESY has found this consistency.
There's some very strong points. I mean, we kind of brought up G2 up earlier, so I didn't think I quite expect to kind of hear this regarding the conversations we had. But yeah, consistency is a big one. But going on to Heaton here, I know you'll probably share one of the teams, at least that Golden said, NIP. But I wonder if you're going to bring up maybe some of the others that are kind of in the legend stage.
Well, I think the winner of the major is going to be FaZe. I mean, considering the team they have right now, I think Brookie, I mean, just like Golden says, he's the most stable opper, but he has that. I mean, on his low level, he's a stable opper, but it's normally, you know, insane. Karrigan, he doesn't need an introduction, probably the best in-game leader in the world, or top 3 at least. And you have, I mean, I think Rob's improved a lot lately as well. So, I mean, having Rain, the stable player there, and Twist has been putting up some good numbers. I think it's their time. They're going to win it. I mean, I'm going to put ENCE as a dark horse. But I'm quite certain that FaZe will run away with this major.
Adam, how about you?
I am firm agreement about FaZe. So I had them. I took Rops and Brokey as MVPs of ESL season 15, and at Pinnacle, shout out, that lovely that they offered that market. And the Rops one paid off at 25-1. And so I've been following them since, going back to Katowice, where they have their window right now. And I don't think this is all anecdotal, subjective, like, oh, how people see it. But I don't think Karrigan is taking for granted that he's actually got another legitimate window here, that with another super team in a time when there is no Astralis era, right? This is going back to 2018 Boston. This is before 3 in a row for Astralis. And right now, yeah, like Golden said, it's sad what's going on in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict as it concerns the CS. I think that's having a mental effect. Navi is not what we saw last year. The Navi killers in Gambit, right now C9, neither of these teams are dominating the scene the way we saw last year. And maybe it might not even be solely on the conflict going on over there either. But you have to say when Navi is priced almost the same as FaZe and Cloud9 is the second runner-up, do I really want to have my money with a FaZe that is so hot, that has just as much firepower as any team in the world, that has an experienced IGL, that has a team that believes in that IGL, and that has everything that they need to win a major, and they've been to the finals before. There's like that redemption narrative, and I'm not big on things like that, but the unfortunate part about wanting to back FaZe, they're priced right now at Pinnacle at 3.1. That's low, and Navi is 3.5. So you have to say it's not a great outright market. Like you could get FaZe down a map to Cloud9 and get a much better price in a quarterfinal. So I don't really love the outright number, but we're going to have opportunities in some of the props to find value on FaZe. So I agree with the FaZe play for timing reasons for what we're seeing coming in this year. They lost the one match to Big Clan. Again, we didn't know necessarily about Big's dust, so who knows how they adjust. I think that's a good loss for them, though. I don't think that's a troubling, like concerning loss. The other thing is the other issue I have with Navi, because it's still their event to lose. If you think about them being the defending champions, they're going to be priced very closely to what we've seen all year long. And that's short, that's heavy favorites. And it's just, they're going to have to be on top of their game in a way that FaZe is, but we haven't seen it yet. So again, I'm not saying it's a clear-cut FaZe win or anything like that. I've obviously taken shots on Big Clan and Vitality as dark horses, but I do think that the timing and just the lack of Navi being Navi and Gambit being Gambit could allow FaZe to finally get that trophy. And that is one of those like fairy tale type, like Kerrigan finally gets it after being through years of Danish CS where he was kicked and then kicked out of the FaZe Clan super team he built, and then that IGL leaves to go to G2 and he gets to come back to FaZe with bringing ROPS side by side. And so there's a lot of really cool things going on and personality things, but that's not the reason I'm back to FaZe. They're showing the best form of all the European teams right now, and I'm going to look for opportunities to find value in their players in that team.
Now, I think I'm going to bring another team, though, in discussion to this. I'm going to tie it with what you said about Carrigan and Azia AGL right now, right? There's a lot of trust in him. There's a lot of faith in him. His experience right now is countless for the team, because obviously all of these online teams that have done really well, they've kind of didn't really have to deal with a crowd sort of crowd feel, right? With one example is Nafany, right? Bringing in Gambit and kind of taking them to the heights that they have during the past couple of years. I think that discussion is actually kind of why I want to kind of bring Cloud9 in, because last major, you could see that obviously Gambit didn't get to the places that they could have done skill-wise to what the level of Counter-Strike that they could perform, right? You could definitely see that there were either nerves getting to them or the calls, mid-round calls were not on point, and essentially they weren't major winning material. The way that I've been seeing these guys perform now, I kind of feel like they're still there. They still have that level of play, but now they've got a little bit more of experience, right? Now they've got a little bit more of, okay, they've realized what this pressure looks like. They've realized what's going on in regards of, okay, staying in the game. I think Nafany, as well as the rest of the team, have kind of like leveled up, matured as well. I mean, you could consider them last year and the year before as newcomers, as rookies, right? Hobbit was the only sort of play in that roster that was kind of the player that was holding his entire team in his back when it came to experience, right, and composure. But I think all of the players now have built themselves up quite a bit, and I see this team coming really well together. So if there's another team besides FaZe to actually have a chance to be the Na'Vi killers and actually keep the CIS dominance going in Counter-Strike right now, I'd put Cloud9 as one of those heavy hitters.
Agree.
Yeah, any thoughts in regards to that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I took Cloud9 against Navi in the semifinals. Sorry, took Gambit in the semifinals against Navi last year, and And that's because they had more wins against Navi than every other team combined in 2021. And I think that shows a level of deep research into what Navi does, into how Simple plays, because that's not a fluke to get that many wins against a team that crushed, had a 90% win rate in the last 6 months. So no, I completely agree that they are capable, they're talented enough, and that they had enough success in deep runs, mostly online. But yeah, I'm not going to make comments about why Cloud9 isn't a team that is capable of winning the major. They have the top 16 berth, and when we talk about cohesiveness, yeah, I just think we haven't. Sometimes in betting world, we have to see to believe, and that's not the best way to go, because you want to get ahead of the value, which means you have to believe before you see the results. And that's when we talk about FaZe priced at Katowice and ESL Pro League Season 15. Before they win those, they are not priced in the Navi range that we're now seeing today for the Antwerp. So yeah, 6-7 to 1 for Cloud9. I think that's, you could find reasons to bet that. Absolutely.
I'd also like to return to Golden here, because you mentioned quite a few teams in regards to being capable of winning things. I think this is one of the, I mean, it's been a major in a while, right? Even before the previous PGL major of 2021. But generally, it's one of those tournaments that you can actually feel that literally anyone can win, depending if anything happens. I don't think, due to the fact that Navi no longer has that dominance, right? They don't look like unstoppable like they did before. You've got multiple contenders on the uphill. It kind of comes to who is there at the right time. So Golden, out of the teams that you kind of said, besides G2, is there another one you kind of want to put a spotlight to? You're muted, by the way.
Sorry. So
Okay.
I was saying, yeah, definitely. I kind of forgot about FaZe actually, but it's just one reason is that, like, why I think also FaZe is a contender is Kerrigan. That is, like, prior to COVID. I remember 2019, late 2019. We were like, okay, he was playing in mouse sports. Was he also making every final, like grand final there was at the end of it, and that is you need someone to know how to win. Like I feel like he kind of mastered it. I remember playing against them in the finals like 2-3 times at the grand finals, when we were also good. He was one of the IGLs that like I had really a hard time countering or knowing what he's gonna do, and I'll always believe in him as an IGL. I think he's super underrated. People don't give him as much recognition he deserves. But yeah, he's the factor I think FaZe will win the major, if I'm have to say something. But other than those teams, so I feel like the favorite never wins, except last major.
Yeah.
It's always been that case for the majors when it's on LAN and there's too much stuff going on, and the pressure seems to get at the top teams.
So
it's
is
really
it fair
hard
to
to
say?
I'll say Astralis was the exception, though, because they were the favorite.
Yeah.
All through. Astralis was the exception.
He
But
is.
prior to that, completely agree with you.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there isn't a favorite this time around, though.
No,
Like,
there isn't. No.
yeah. I mean, Adam made the point. Okay, it's Navi's title to lose. FaZe also winning a big tournament this year prior. Also look poised to grab that trophy. But yeah, it kind of feels like, even like you guys mentioned, like challenger teams like ENCE, for example, having a big chance to actually getting that momentum and just knocking everybody they could meet in front of them. So Yeah, I kind of feel like there's an aura in the air where it doesn't really come down because the competition is so close. At the end of the day, it's human factors over in-game factors that might actually
Yeah.
make the difference. Do you guys agree with that statement?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I would have point out one thing as well. I think none of us mentioned Navi. We could never count out Navi. You can never do it because it's
No.
like it's so simple. It's been, you know, hard grinding before this as well, and they haven't in a while because I don't know the reasons. We all have our ideas why, but I mean, you can never count out. They have the best player in the world. Simple, and I mean they're Navi, and because it feels like all of us here and all the people you talk about outside are kind of excluding them. They're not going to win. Nobody's expecting that. And there's one still, they're number one team in the world still, in my opinion, even though they might, I don't know if are at HLTV, but they are the team to beat still. And I don't think we could count them out.
It feels like it's a bigger story if Navi wins rather than they lose.
Yeah,
like it would be a lot more emotional, there'll be a lot more hype around it, and there'll be I wouldn't say surprise, but it would be a much bigger story if Navi actually gets this back-to-back title. So this is what makes this major actually incredible to me.
And it's interesting because I completely agree that, you know, they still have the best player in the world, of course, and they still have probably the most firepower and fragging IGL perhaps in the world as well. And they of all the teams, they have had no roster changes coming into this event of all these top content. Well, Gambit as well. But so one thing I just want to say though with that, it's I was saying in comparison to FaZe, you might say FaZe has more value because they're priced similar to Navi. You could also make the counter argument that Navi has been a little bit underperforming, so we're actually getting value on Navi coming into this event, where when they were priced at this point in time, for the exact same stage that they're starting now, they were priced at 2.0 at the last PGL Major. So that's approximately, it was either 50% Navi wins the event or 50% they don't, approximately. Right now they're at 3.5. You know, it's just below 33%, 30%. So you could say you're actually getting 20% more value because they've kind of been underperforming, haven't won an event in 2022, have the conflict in the Ukraine. And so you're actually getting much more on than you should be on the top team in the world, who I still actually think is the number one, even though FaZe overtook them in the rankings. So yeah, for me, it's Navi's to lose. FaZe is coming in like the clear challenger team to finally get that trophy. But if either of them wins or doesn't win it, you can say it should go to probably the other one, I think is what we might take.
What would you say would be the winning condition for Navi to actually persevere and actually get this win in the bag? What would be their winning condition at this point? I'd go to Adam again, but if Golden has a point quicker, go ahead.
Yeah, I think if you look at it like how they played last tournament or that one before as well, like Simple stated that they were a bit, they had to find themselves again during the tournament, and I think they will have to go through the same thing here. I don't think they had the opportunities to practice as much as possible with the, you know, the war in Ukraine, the invasion. Like it's you cannot play CS at your highest level with unclear mind. Like your mind needs to be there. You need to be clear in the head. You need to have you need to be in the zone, and it's super difficult to do that when you have your family to think on, or the people or your country, and I feel like that's a very hard task to overcome. But if they do, it will be during the tournament that they will find themselves winning one round at a time.
What a glorious win would that be? Yeah, finding yourself and with a clear head. We've kind of touched on a lot of legends here, a lot of teams, a lot of a lot of potential for this major to disappoint, to do well, to be a big chapter in the history books of Counter-Strike. And I think this is when Counter-Strike needs it. I know we're more talking about teams today. I know we're more talking about outcomes and results and stuff, but I think I want to bring things to a more general note and kind of want to ask you guys one by one. What are you most looking forward to in this major? Are you going? Is there something? Is there someone you want to see playing again on the stage? What are you most looking forward to? Adam, you've got a big smile on your face. Just go ahead first.
So what I get excited for is the amount of potential for underdog upsets. I am somebody that has found the most success and most enjoyment in pure chaos at the top events with deep runs by unsuspecting teams. And I enjoy seeing the non-favorites win it. So what I'm excited for is top level CS on LAN again, community rallying behind it, and a truly global type of FPS shooter being on the forefront of the esports community. Just in my day-to-day work, we are bringing Counter-Strike to people who have never watched it before. So I'm excited for them to see the production value and the enjoyment as a fan for the very first time and say, hey, I can't wait to get a Liquid jersey or a, heroic or just something that they wouldn't have considered maybe ever doing a year before, but really enjoy the product that they're seeing on Twitch or and maybe one day in person. So I'm excited from the betting standpoint for hopefully having a profitable tournament, and then as a fan, just sort of seeing other people enjoying what a great title this is for the first time.
Heaton?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be boring and say one thing. I have two things, actually. Firstly, it's going to be, I still believe and hope that we're going to see Device back, because, I mean, he's my favorite player together with Simple in the world. And I'm still a believer. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm still a believer, because if Device gets back, NRP is going to be top 3. 100%. Doesn't matter what form he's in. The experience and I mean all the things he's bringing into the team, I think it's going to be huge, and that would be a Cinderella story of something. Second thing I'm looking forward to is seeing the best Counter-Strike player that we ever had starting 99 to up to date, Simple, performing in the major again. He's the best player to ever touch the game. And I think I'm honored to watch him play, and I think we all should be, and appreciate that we're watching this living legend play, because I get goosebumps from watching him play, because it's something else, something we've never seen before.
And Golan?
For me, it would be a Swedish team winning NIP. Finally get a trophy back to Sweden. It's been way too long. And it would mean a lot to the Swedish talent that's coming up as well. Like, they could look up to them, and like even more look up to them, and just, damn, I want to do that as well. And we need that in Sweden. And yeah, I would love to see that. And second thing would be, if that doesn't happen, then a dark horse winning the entire tournament, like someone you kind of saw it coming, and then it actually happened. God damn.
Bad News Eagles wins the whole thing.
That would be something.
Juan Thatcher just waving his arms as everything.
No,
that'd be crazy.
It wouldn't be two monitors broken. It would be all 10.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. I think. Yeah, you mentioned everything. I'm going to go with every single point that you guys made. I'm going to add another thing as well, because I'm a commentator. I also look at that aspect quite a bit. I'm very much looking forward to Scrawny Launders, Harry and Hugo on the big stage with all the fans, given a chance at the major now. Maui on the analyst desk, massive talent, very much deserve to get those spots. And I'm just really looking forward to them really bringing the hype and sort of guiding us through this whole thing. So yeah, as well as the teams, I love seeing like the talent being brought in, and it's just really cool to see, and it's something I'm very much looking forward to. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. We've had so many good topics to talk about during these podcasts. If you guys at home have loved it, if you like them, or if you got any feedback for us, make sure to let us know, because I've enjoyed it, and I hope the rest of the panel has also enjoyed these topics. So yeah, thanks for joining. This has been a blast. We'll see you again very soon for potentially other podcasts brought to you by Pinnacle. So yeah, take care and enjoy the major.